Yo, bro, we can't hear you.
My bad. It's because I have my phone on. Have my phone on mute. So last week, right, we left. This is what we had, right? I guess it's like 2 weeks now that we had this. Right, we said we rejected weekly structure, and essentially, right, we should be looking for upside. However, intraday, right, we could have been looking at potential shorting just due to that intraday structure, right? Low, low, highs, highs, lower low, lower high potentially, right? But just due to how close these are, I was expecting at least here, and then I'd go for a counter trend play there. But, we're not there yet, right? So let's just figure out exactly what happened here, right? So obviously you have to assume a sell just due to, right, bearish structure maintaining. So we start zooming in. And just from this time frame, right, obviously this would be a point of interest. But now let's start zooming in there, and we go through the H6. Am I still there? Wait, hold on, guys. Hold on, hold on. Yeah, my bad, guys. Um, so like I said, right, H6, that would have still been a potential, area of interest. Keep zooming in. H4 is still area of interest. Right, keep zooming in. H3, H2. Now I want you to notice this. Right, what do we see here? Right, we do see SC, and we do see an engulfing after that. But as you can see, that wick already mitigated that candle, right? Which means that's no longer valid in my eyes, right? So now my next area of interest is obviously candle number 2. Mark up that, mark up 50%. And now, where did price react? 50%, right? And based off of rules, that didn't tap SL technically, right? But obviously, we're not trading DXY. We just use that as a bias, right? Which is why I said on Friday, when was this? 14th? Yesterday, I'm sorry, that this entire structure here, this entire little, I guess you could say flag to an extent, could be considered a scam too, right? And with this being your fourth touch, right? No UTAD, right? Just LPS wise. So now that we have the fourth one, right? This is only a second LPSY to then continue lower. And now you can see that structure broke to the downside, which is what it's expected, right? Especially because we were looking at this as being a potential scam too. So now that we got that, right, you figured out what happened, right? Obviously now volume is towards the downside just because our candle of interest rejected at 50%, basically only touched it once, and then started to give a reaction. So now it's just a matter of whether this is going to keep falling or this wants to pull back. But I'd honestly count on it just continuing a little bit more downside. It just makes sense here. But obviously, I'm just going to wait until overlap tomorrow just to see what we get. And when we apply that to Euro USD, that actually gave like some pretty decent trades, right? Like just by seeing this here, literally on this time frame, you could consider that a 50% move there. But that's obviously irrelevant. That was last week. We were trying to find out what happened this week, right? So, right, this was Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Wednesday. Yeah, so we were here. We were right here on last week's call. So what happened was we got that bullish reaction. We obviously took out levels of structure. And now, in order to find a reentry, all we have to do is just figure out where money is and figure out where potential SC, potential inefficiency, just where all that is. So we start zooming in, right? Obviously to save time. Um, what do we see here? I see a previous low that failed the break, right? Our second touch here failed the break, signifying that there is liquidity sitting here, right? So not only do I see that, let me see. Not only do we see that, but we see this, which is right area of inefficiency. And just to prove that, I'm pretty sure. No, actually, I'm gonna just zoom in first. Right, obviously you don't see nothing on the 45, but on the 30, we now see that area become smaller, and this area of interest is right under previous liquidity. So we're gonna measure this whole thing, right? But obviously our area of interest is 50%, and that is, hitting to the T, right? It even gave you 3 opportunities to get into that. Did I get into that? No, just because I woke up like in a really bad mood. And just when I wake up like that, I just don't want to force, any capital loss. So I sat that one out, which I should have actually caught this, but it is what it is. Um, and literally, from here, you take any type of long position, anywhere from a 2.5, 3 pip stop. All right, just for rules, that would have been around the 2.5. And obviously, one of your first targets is pretty deep just due to where the previous high is. Right? And it did break that at, what is that, basically 40 pips. And that's already a 16-1. Right? And obviously, it did take a while. It took, let's see, this took about, almost a day, 21 hours. So yeah, it would have taken like a full day. It is what it is. Um, but either way, it is still a very, very solid trade, right? Just due to it taking previous liquidity, filling in 50% inefficiency, right? And then we continue higher. So now, even if you didn't catch that entry, right, when you're going for re-entries, you got to figure out what's happening, right? And that's obviously starts from, obviously daily 4 hour, I mean, daily 12 hour, 8 hour, 4 hour, right? But just to save time, as we continue to, find potential re-entry SCs, we want to figure out exactly where the money is, right? So obviously on here on the 3 hour, we see, obviously a wick there. So we want to minimize that wick, right? You keep going, right? 2 hour gives us nothing. 1 hour gives me something. And now you're going to see, this is something where people mess up, right? And this is where, this is something that, like, this is literally how every smart money trader out there, likes to, set this up, right? They're going to say, oh, last candle before the upside move, right? Which means they're going to point this out, right? This candle right here, they're going to point it out. And they're going to say, oh, that will be my entry. this will be my stop loss at the bottom of the wick, right? Obviously targeting previous highs. What is that? 1.47, 1.62. Next high hasn't even hit yet. It's not even a 3% trade. So that's where they mess up. Like at the end of the day, even if you're able to consistently catch snipes, if the risk reward isn't there, you're no different from somebody who trades, trend lines and flags. So this is where people mess up. People would regularly say a candle like this is your quote unquote sponsored candle, order block, volume range, whatever you want to call them, right? But in reality, this isn't the candle you're supposed to play off of, right? Because what I like to do, I like to find candles that don't cut price. Like notice how this candle has an engulfing after that, and then it has one last, I guess you could call it a retest before it continued. Now, my area of interest is inside that basically hammer right there, right? Just due to the fact that that retest could have given you a potential sell to buy scenario, which is why you would then want to mitigate that sell to buy. So once you go through time frames, right, obviously the same area of interest still has, a ton of basically wick in comparison to body. So you're going to keep going down. And now you do see basically some type of sell candle here before it continued. And so notice this is inside all of that. And now you can minimize your area of interest right there. Right? Can you go deeper? Probably. But I'm not trying to confuse that because you can make this extremely technical. Like even on this time frame, now we can say that this would have been the most recent candle, and that literally touched it to the T, I believe. You see that? That's where price reacted off of. But just to be safe, I would have taken that 30-minute candle over the 5-minute candle, just due to playing that. Let me see, just to get it precise. 1, 2. All right, long position. A sell at the 2 pip stop. I like to do usually 2 to 3 on EU. On AU, I like to do 1.5 to 2. And UCAD is more of like a 4 to 5 pip stop. So right here, that I'd give that a little bit of room. 2.5, obviously first target. 9.8 to 1. That's smashed in literally 6.5 hours, right? And it peaked out at 17 to 1. Well, it's now at 13.92. So let's just keep track of these potential reentries.
Hey Fredo, when you say
Yeah.
like 1.5 or like 2 or like 4 and 5 on like UCAD, are you talking about from below the wick or are you talking about just in general?
No, I'm talking about total.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, none of my stops ever go beyond like 5 pips on USD pairs. Like obviously GJ or something like that I've given that, 15 pips and it's still, a 10 to 1. So at the end of the day, it's not about the pip size. I mean about the stop loss size. It's about, just finding that precision. Right. So obviously entry 1, entry 2, obviously take profit ones have been taken out, which is at your previous high. You continue that. And now what I'm seeing is that this will completely just rocket, right? Just due to the fact that I don't see any more money stuck here that would interest me. And if there were like candles of interest like this, you could, that's something I could see why people call that an SC. I wouldn't call that an SC, but that would break, pretty much some sort of level of structure. So then I would see something like that. Right. So obviously I don't want that because I want, to hit my TP for one on this. But as you can see, this right here could have been a sell to buy, and that mitigated literally almost immediately. Right, as you can see there. But just to keep that going, obviously one of my targets would be that high there, right? Two positions, 19 and 20. Yeah, 20 and a 19, right? So that'll conclude Euro USD. And honestly, I see it reaching up there because now we're approaching this area of interest here that I pointed out on DXY, and we're just not. I'm gonna have to wait and see how that plays out, just to see, to see how that plays out, because there's a potential this can just like start dying from here. So I might try to look for a sell position, especially on that 50% area. But we'll just see how that reacts. The next one is obviously AU, which is something a lot of people are in right now. Right. And like I said last week, is that I'm essentially looking for something like that if it gives it to us. But I don't know. I'm just gonna wait and see. Just because of what I explained, I guess it was last week when I showed you guys just determining momentum with, how strong candles are, Like for example here, 1, 2, 3, 4, basically 4 or 5 candles here. Took 7 or 8 here. Yeah, it's like 9. So I did,
Hey,
obviously take
also,
that
hey,
intraday.
sorry to interrupt again, but
Hmm.
when you're dealing with those small stops, how do you deal with the spread?
I mean, you account for it
Okay.
in your stuff. Like for example, I know there's a ton of people here that use like IC markets that has literally no spread. During New York, a ton of brokers have like really, really good spread. So you could do that. You don't even have to legitimately place a stop loss if you're looking for a precise entry. Like let's say you're trying to enter a live, minute one candle, you're gonna see if it reacts right away. If not, it's not gonna be valid. So it's just a matter of, it just depends on the situation.
Okay.
So I know a lot of you were asking me like how we took that AU trade, but I'm pretty sure I sent the chart on Monday. No, not Monday, on Sunday. I'm sorry. Right. So we bottomed out. Right. We bottomed out. Then we took out a previous level of structure. So now this here was just looking like a straight up, bull flag. So I was just trying to find, the lowest possible price before I saw this, fully rocket. Um, all right, and let me show you exactly the candle we played. All right, so as you can see, all right, this would have been your quote unquote last candle to the downside before the upside move, and then this mitigated this candle, and then this candle obviously skipped, and it never came back to touch back in this area. And as you can see, it even left an area of inefficient pricing right there. Right, so this is like a really good lesson that I'm probably gonna try to record and put it in pair breakdowns, just because it follows my plan very, very nicely. Just in the fact that, like, let's do this. There's inefficient pricing here, and I'm just gonna prove it to you guys just by showing this. Right there. So as you can see, there is inefficiency here and here, right? Just due to there being literally no volume, as you can see by the 0. So that would have been your inefficient pricing area. And I'm gonna do this in a different color. Here would have been your open at, I'm gonna do this red. All right, and I'm gonna highlight 50%. All right, so this is exactly how I played it. So there's a reason why I tell you guys that I only trade like, overlap, or like that's why I wake up at 6 a.m. every day. And that's just, this is a perfect example, right? Let's look at this. So here, right, we see the perfect, reaction off of the inefficient pricing, right? But obviously right before that, we had a very impulsive downside move and then a very corrective upside move up. And notice that this happened at 2:30 in the morning, right? And then this fall here, I was actually trying to play this. I'm pretty sure it was like a 1 minute entry here. I was trying to play this, but I didn't catch it in time, and I just said I didn't want to rush it, especially when I'm trying to play um the basically the buy, not the sell. So what happened here, right? Right before, an hour before New York opened, we just see price straight up dip, and it hit basically right at our, area of interest, which is a 50%. And this gave one, two, like, yeah, a pip and a half of drawdown. But the reason why I was confident too in this trade was just due to there being straight up zero, like not really any supporting volume on this very impulsive move. Like obviously, yes, it was building, but it wasn't supporting it. And by supporting it, I just mean something like this, right? Like you see this impulsive move here with strong volume, but you see an impulsive move here with no volume. So that's just something to note. And I actually entered at the closure of this candle. So literally I bought it and just instant profit, and it just dipped. So I literally entered right after that closure. Right, gave it, I think it was 2.5, just due to the lot size I used. Um, and then from there, obviously your first target, previous high, which is 7-1. All right, obviously in the morning peaked up at 37 pips, which was 15-1, dipped down to 8, then went 40 pips up, 16-1, and now it's just being weird. So let's see what happened after that. All right, obviously we broke this, how do I say, this is basically this bull flag, right? Obviously we broke that. All right, gave an impulsive move, then came right back to 50%, right, of inefficiency here. And that gave one extra spike. So I know this was right around when, yeah, literally right when the new day opened. Um, which if you would have taken that, I wouldn't have taken that just due to how late in the day it was. Right, that would have been another 2.5. Obviously, first target 6-1, and that wicked that. Right, but we've yet to take out this previous high, which is what I'm aiming for now. And just what I see now is potentially price rejecting, the 50% of this candle, the 50% of that candle here, this candle here, right? 50% might dip again, and then I'm hoping this just takes out 69.20, and then that's when this is cleared to go to at least. Next stop would probably be around 69.25. So we'll just see. Hopefully this takes out that high, because now that I'll be good after that. Let's see what you guys have to say. AJ, EJ, and UJ, I don't trade either of those pairs, bro. At the end of the day, like these calls aren't meant for me to, give you guys trades or anything. These calls are literally just to explain what has happened, and then for you guys to talk to me. Yeah, it could be, bro, just due to feeling that inefficiency. Like I'm not gonna go over AJ, EJ, and UJ just because that's gonna mess up my personal psychology. Right? At the end of the day, I'm only trading these pairs now, so I'm gonna stick true to that.
Hey, yo, Fredo,
Mm-hmm.
is there anywhere in the Google Drive where we can find out more about inefficiency?
I did leave that. I gave off. I left the rules. All the rules are in the order flow. On the order flow folder. I left the rules for that and for SCs too. So hopefully that helps that. And obviously, literally every video. I mean, a lot of my Zooms also go over that. Yo,
Hey,
stop writing on the screen. Stop.
what are the pairs that you trade now? That you only trade,
These right
and
here.
why? Why is that?
Because why should I look at 20 pairs? Because um, like for example, me trying to find 20 different setups. I mean, trying to find a setup in 20 different pairs is going to completely just confuse me because honestly, even trying to catch perfect entries on these three pairs is a bit challenging, which is why I'd rather just stick to one pair each day. Like for example, this AU trade is still up, 27 pips, right? Which is a decent amount of money on a decent lot size. So I don't see why people just try to trade every single pair and then still try to say, they wait for the setup because essentially you're chasing the setup, if that makes sense.
So no, it makes sense. So with that being said, though, why do you choose pairs that move like so slow? And I'm just asking for because I sometimes have a patience issue with trading
I
those
mean,
pairs because they move damn slow.
at the end of the day, like the volatility doesn't matter, price doesn't matter, the title doesn't matter because when you have to look at it from a risk reward perspective. At the end of
Okay,
the
I
day,
see
it
what you're
doesn't
saying.
it doesn't matter, what
Yeah, that
it
makes
doesn't
sense.
nothing
Yeah,
like your lot size is determined by your stop loss size, so it doesn't matter if it's 3 pips, 7 pips, right? Obviously 3 pips here would be, or obviously 10 pips here would be like 20 pips on GJ, right? So that
yeah,
means that the lot size would be around half. It obviously would vary due to different price per pip, but you get the point.
yeah. No, I get that completely. I get that completely.
So yeah, it's all about the RR. It's not about the how much volatility there is in a pair. I just like these because these are the pairs I've had success with over the past year.
Yeah, you don't like gold at all or like oil?
I mean, I used to trade them, but
Yeah,
I
you
just
just
don't see a need to trade them.
yeah, fair. Okay, yeah, no, fair enough. Never mind. I was gonna ask a question about gold, but you don't trade it anymore,
I
so.
mean, obviously I've given bias on that, like for the longest, it did do that monthly accumulation scam too.
Uh-huh.
It did complete it. So I don't, it's
Well,
obviously not something
sometimes,
you want
but
to sell long term.
what I was gonna ask is like if the same rules apply to like oil and gold, because sometimes I feel like those two are manipulated to where they'll go
Everything
right
is
past
manipulated,
the.
bro.
But I'm saying like they'll go like right past the wick and then shoot the direction you want it to go.
Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. Give me an example.
Shit, I couldn't give you one this much. I'll go
Uh,
back in my charts and send it to you.
yeah,
I'm
because
about
you
to go
could
through
you
my thing.
could
I'm driving
probably
right now.
zoom in. You could probably zoom in and find out why that happened. Like
Okay.
obviously here, right off the bat, I see oil rejecting this inefficiency there. Didn't hit 50%. And then just look at how choppy this looks too. Like,
Yeah, it does look choppy.
like I don't really want to trade that. And this another example of a very choppy pair that I would probably never touch is this right here. This has been in a range for like 6 years. Yeah, like 5 years. Just like, you don't want to trade this. And it's been getting tighter every year. That's why I don't touch certain pairs. I'd rather just stick to my same pairs, same trade up, same trade setup, same time, every day.
What I mean, I know you don't look at it like this, but like, would you say you're typically catching like 20 to 30 pips a day, roughly?
Um, I mean, I don't keep track. I don't care for the pips.
Yeah, fair. Yeah,
Um,
I figured you
wait, you
would.
should you should you should pursue your 7-10 to 1, not your 40-50 pips.
7-10 to 1. What do you mean by that?
Like risk reward. That's what you should be chasing, not your.
Oh,
I'm targeting 50 pips for the day. I'm
you
not. I'm
don't you
targeting.
don't do anything under 7-1.
I mean, they all add up to over 7-1. So that just became the norm. Like for example, this is a 7-1, I guess, for the first entry. I mean, All right, so even if you took this off the open, you could give that a 3 anywhere. Uh, right, that first target is 6-1. Anywhere here is 9-1. So you see that, you see how it adds up
Yeah. No,
just
I
due to the
definitely. I'm
factor
following.
of having the smaller type, the smaller lot. I mean, the smaller stop loss. So that's what matters at the end. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, like that's what advertised these days. It's like, oh, catch these certain amount of pips. It's not about that. That's
Yo,
that's a
Carlito.
that's a question that depends on situation, bro. That's not a question I can answer because it depends on situation. I mean, like the AU one, why would I have played the SC over the inefficiency, bro? Why did I do this?
Yo,
No, it's a legitimate question. Like why, like I literally just explained like this.
Because it
I
was
played
correctly
this.
structured, I'd say, right?
No, I played this over this just because this happened in London, this happened in New York. And when do I trade?
New York.
So if they were inverse, I still would have played the bottom one just because that happened in New York. It's no, it's not a it's not a fact of which one goes first. It's just a fact of the situation, what it gives you. Do I trade every day? I don't trade Sundays. Fridays is rare.
bro, do you have like multiple entries? Because
Nah,
like,
usually it just depends. It depends like from the RR standpoint. Like I don't really like to stack just because I don't want to kill the profit, so I'd rather just hold.
so you have like one entry
And
with your risk, and then you let it fly.
yeah, I used to do a lot of reentries, but that's just adding risk, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather just try to protect the profit and the capital that I have.
I feel you.
Like
And
I didn't re-enter here. I didn't re-enter there.
yeah,
One, because I'm already in the trade, and two, because it's not in the hours that I trade. That's obviously this happened when the new daily opened. So yeah, like I said, now it's just trying to see where this wants to play.
how much percent do you take like after your first CP? Like you take partials, right?
Yeah, I mean, it
What do you
just
take? Like,
depends on. It depends if I do 2%, 1%, 3%.
hmm,
Since a lot of the time I do 1%, I'll like, for example, let's say I have like two standards or 1.5. 1.5, I'll take off like 0.25, 0.30.
all right. Okay, like 30% after first TP.
No, like I'm saying like a 0.30. But yeah, you could do 30% too. It's fine. Like
Yeah,
it's depending on you, bro. There is no like you got to do this. It's depending on you.
got you, bro. Thank you.
All right, so we could. Yeah, exactly. I don't trade London. I sleep during London. All right, at the end of the day, it's like people say buy low, sell high. No, you buy lower and you sell higher. It's just depending on the person. Yeah, we have some solid amount of people tonight. Pacific time, the worst. Yeah, I mean Pacific time. Yeah, because you guys have. I think New York opens like at 6 a.m. for y'all. I mean, not 6 a.m., 5 a.m. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'd rather go live in Miami and wake up at like 8 and it's technically 7. I don't know. I don't trade London. It just depends on the pairs you trade, bro. It's like I trade USD. USD obviously is going to move during New York times. So you're new, bro. So you obviously don't know like at all like what we do. So um, just let Harris, give you some more information on that. He's done ICT. Yeah, you can learn ICT, but ICT doesn't. We don't trade like ICT does. I personally don't like how he trades. But yeah, I mean, I know you guys have questions. There's like 40 something of y'all in here.
I asked mine.
Yeah, who's next?
You know I'm not scared to ask questions.
Because I mean, I haven't traded UCAT at all like this week, just because look at how ugly this is. There's no structure to this. Obviously, I could have. There's probably something, like see it didn't even give 50% of that. So I don't know. I wouldn't have touched this, and I didn't touch this just because I didn't like how structure is moving. So I just stuck to EU and AU. AU was obviously the bigger focus. I chase Joe. Why do you use 50%? I mean, it just depends on the trade, bro. Like for example, this one, this instantly gave 50%. Like, this instantly gave 50%. Like I told you, I don't do pendings. Like obviously, I saw this and then it rejected, right? But I waited just to see what it wanted to do. And like I said, right, you got one last impulse, but no supporting volume whatsoever, right? Very moderate, very stale here. Right? And that's what led me to take the risk. I literally took it like around here. I did put like 2.5. And that's what I'm still holding right now, just to see. But honestly, if we see a break like anywhere here, I'm gonna debate closing. So yeah, we'll just see how this goes when I wake up. We'll see how this plays out. Just because it is still, 10 p.m. here. And, London still has like 2 hours. Into long term on XXX USD. I don't know, bro. It doesn't matter. I'm not a position trader. Doesn't matter to me. That's irrelevant. I'm just looking at swing and intraday moves. Right? Like, I'm not gonna tell you DXY bullish 2020 or DXY bearish 2020. I don't have any evidence to support either.
What's the difference between position and swinging? I thought that was the same thing.
Nah, swing, like let's say like a swing would be here when a position would be here. Position you probably hold for a couple months. Swings you probably hold for a couple days, weeks.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't really position trade. I mean I've probably done like one or two, but nothing crazy. There we go. Rip the swap fees. I mean, that's low key why I don't like. I like to skip like EU buys just due to the fact of that swap. Because when you throw a standard like on a Wednesday, that swap is pretty like it's pretty big, especially because Wednesday is triple swap.
Dude, I just found a broker that doesn't even charge swap.
Which one is it?
It's called IG. They
It's
charge.
called, I'm sorry.
It's called IG. That's literally their name. IG. IG broker. They don't charge swap. They charge like
unregulated.
No, they're regulated. At least that's what it says. They like put it into their spreads, and they're still not that bad. and then they do charge like interest for the day, but it's like not bad at all.
They probably charge you more to like actually place the trades then.
That
Like
might be it.
I know there's like brokers that you can like have like certain quote unquote contracts, and you can either have like no swap or no charges, or but there's always a catch to it. No, I've actually never heard of IG. A swap free account FBS. I've never heard of FBS either. I just stick to CoinEx, ICM, and FX Choice. But I personally I don't like FX Choice anymore, just due to how much they charge you for everything. I guess that's just due to it being a regulated broker. Yeah, IC Markets is probably one of the best brokers out there.
How do you deposit with them?
With who?
With IC.
IC, credit card or PayPal.
Okay.
But you need somebody to make an account from overseas.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, but everything is like regulated.
And you said FX Wildcats is a good one because I'm about to get that. I'm about to.
Yeah,
run
that's
that
a good
account
one.
here in
That's
the
a
next,
good one
like,
for
30
big
days.
accounts.
Hey,
Okay.
Fredo, what about
Yeah.
CoinEx?
No, that's solid too. The only reason I say FX Wildcats is because back when Justin wanted me to trade his bread, he had $30K in there, and it was like everything went smoothly. But for CoinEx, I mean, I've never kept more than like 5 figs on there. But yeah, unless you have like a connect or a friend somewhere outside of, basically outside of the US, you can get an IC Markets account.
Is that like illegal though? If you got a homie that
When you're gonna come hot tub with me?
I mean, not really. Just withdraw everything under your name and report it under your name. You'll just get taxed by it being a trading account. Being like you'll get taxes based off of your trading. And I believe it's like 35% or some crazy number like that. But you have to make like a certain amount. Let's see. Yeah, honestly, never. I mean, like I'd have to find a like reliable broker before I ever like wanted to keep 6 figs in an account. Because the broker can just take your money and you're screwed. There's nothing you can do. Oh, there's a long story about that. I'll tell you guys that some other day. But yeah, I'm pretty Trey will probably tell you guys that story. This guy that finessed like 3 million off of people and just disappeared. Well, actually, it was like 10 mil, something like that. No, you guys don't know him. Yeah, that's irrelevant. That's not stuff that matters. Yes, Choi Challenge, yeah. But I mean, unless you guys have questions, I don't really have much more to say. It's just, just smooth sailing from here. Just continue your trends and wait to see where stuff reacts. Like just off of seeing this. I'd like to see EU, at least there. So if you guys don't have any more questions, yeah, I'll probably just end the call. I mean, it wasn't too much unless you guys have like something something that you guys want me to talk about. What about invalid setups? Yeah, Harris, you got a lot of stuff to learn, bro. How do you register your trades in your journal? I don't really register my let me actually tell y'all like what I do. I don't necessarily like track every trade anymore, just because I know at the end of the day my technicals, like I'm not trying to sound like a cocky guy here, but my technicals are pretty solid. So what I do now instead is track you know every single what I feel, what I'm focusing on, and I stack them up until the Friday. And then Friday after market closes, you just reflect to what happened and then just improve your psychology, because at the end of the day, psychology is who are going to make you the bread.
Bro, what time do you wake up?
5:45 my
And then
time.
like at 6, you're like already in the charts.
No, I wake up at that time.
Uh,
5:45, and then I have a second alarm at 5:55. So be ready by 6.
all right. And you're in CST, right?
Yeah, Central. Yeah. How much money do you recommend on to have with a Hughes account? It depends, bro. There is no like beginner balance. It's just a matter of how much money could you potentially lose. How much like you have to realize, like, once you put money into a brokerage account, it could disappear in one day. All it takes is a flash crash or something to mess everything up. Right, like for example, I think that happened here. Right, this flash crash here.
Does that happen like once a
600
year or
pips.
something?
I don't know. They're just extremely random. Like this was literally in an instant. Like in 2-3 minutes, this happened. Like you just see a 600 pip drop. I actually remember this. I didn't have any trades in at the time, but I had just seen it, and it was just crazy because it messed up biases for like forever. Like the next for at least a quarter. Right. So just imagine that 600 pips in in a minute, 2 minutes. Like your stop loss isn't going to hold your position. It's going to slip, and then your account could blow depending on your lot size. So it's just a matter of how much money you're comfortable putting in. Do you know when do you about this time for this form? Yeah, bro, Harris, bro, talk to me after the call, bro. Central Time. Yeah, so just Jonathan, to get your just to answer your question, it's just you have to basically just put in as much as you feel comfortable with potentially losing, and then just growing that over the next year or so. Because I don't think like you guys understand how possible it is to end up the year with 20-30K. It's actually like crazy simple. It's just the only thing holding you back is obviously your psychology. How has success changed you, man? Honestly, I don't even know how to answer that because Sergio on the call. I don't know if you guys know this, but Sergio was actually there when I
Yeah.
first signed up for IML, and he's seen the whole process. He saw when my ego just went through the roof, and then when I had to shut it down, all that stuff. So I mean, I don't know if that's a question I can answer myself. This is the Mike I told you, showed you. Biggest lesson: don't be greedy. What made you humble yourself? One time I lost like $600 in 10 minutes. That hurt really bad. When the last time you worked? Probably, I think it's been a year and a half now since I worked at Nissan. Yeah, it's been like a year and a half. Biggest loss is probably, I don't know. I think it was around that $600 loss in one trade. And the thing is, the account wasn't big, so that's why it really hurt. So I saw consistent wins. What month are we in? January, June. Consistent. So we started in September, August, September. So it's like 1, 2, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It took me like 7, 8 months. Yeah, it took like 7, 8 months, I think. But to get to where I am now, that took way longer. Like, yeah, it took way longer. Like probably once I left IMO, that's probably when I was finally getting to this level, trying to show you guys 1 minute entries and all that. Because I've been doing it for the past couple months. It's just it wasn't as consistent. I mean, there's a couple of guys in here that have been there for a minute. I know Giovanni's been here for a long time. He's seen everything. Baby Trader's seen everything. How much you spent on sneakers? Too much. Yeah, bro. Yeah. What Sergio said is true. Everybody's greedy. That's just how we are as people. So it's hard to overcome that. Like, I used to be up $100 and then be so happy and close it early. Now you're up 400, $500, and it's different. It's just all experience. How long? How did you even come across smart money? So I didn't start off as a smart money trader. I was started off as a straight up Wyckoff trader, and like I would snipe without knowing these concepts. This was like way long ago. Like this was literally like a year ago, and I was still trading only Wyckoff and just looking for schematics on M1, just looking for key points of price. All smart money did was add areas to potentially trigger. So smart money was first probably introduced through ICT, and then after ICT, I met Jordan Morgan. I met Jordan Morgan like around March. How do you know when to hold a trade and when to drop it? I mean, you have to have your target set before you take a trade, bro. You got to know everything. Everything has to be calculated. And when to drop it, like, what do your rules say when it comes to dropping it? Sergio, yeah, Sergio, you can unmute your mic and talk to him about that.
Yeah, bro. So pretty much when it comes to greed, honestly, well, like what Fredo said, right, is through experience, but you also have to be self-aware, right, of what, I mean, what kind of trader you are. There's a lot of things that come into it, right? Of course, there's the technical side, right, like the skill set, but when it comes to the psychology part, you want to know what you want, right? Not everybody's gonna trade exactly the same way, right? And so you want to I mean, just become self-aware, right? And that's why you want to record your stuff and see how you react to every situation that you're in, and then from there, I mean, just adapt and improvise. If you don't like the results, then that's when you change, right? But I mean, it's just through that experience, and you just can't have, you can't let those emotions get to you. You're always gonna have them, like they're always gonna be there. It's just a matter of accepting the situation, accepting the fact that you took a loss, accepting the fact that you missed the trade, or expecting accepting that you missed the trade, or let's say you forced it and you take an L. Oh well, right? Just become self-aware. Most people just like they take a trade, they forget it, and then they go on like with their day. You just want to like kind of like reflect on that. because that's one thing that helped Fredo. Like he probably doesn't even know it, but he reflected on what happened on that situation. Right? When you reflect, you start noticing things. You start changing, and then that's what he did. Right? He was curious, and that's when he started looking for more, more knowledge. And I mean, that's when things started changing. So
It just depends on everybody.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, you have to go through the losses in order to say you have to go through the losses in order to get the wins. And it's it sounds cheesy when you say it, but it's true. Like I didn't believe it, but it happened to me too. Reassurance that somebody has been through before. Bro, I'm not. I didn't invent this stuff. Maybe I figured it out, but I probably didn't invent this stuff. So it's like, people have already been through this scenario. These same scenarios we're going through, maybe not in the same, straight up detail as us, but they've probably been through the same scenarios. It's just about sticking true to your rules. Sticking true to your rules and being consistent. Like how I told you guys last week that, your personal development, all that, BS that the IMO people say, that doesn't really correlate with trading psychology. Trading psychology is about understanding, your personal quote unquote demons, and naturally, improving your trading psychology will naturally improve your, your psychology as a person, your attitude as a person. So that's why I say don't focus on trying to become a better person. Try to focus on becoming a better trader, because naturally they will both happen at the same time. If that makes sense. September 2018. August, September of 2018, around there. That's when I finally took it seriously. Before that, I just wasted money on IMO. Did you ever hit platinum in IMO? Yeah, I hit P2K. I hit P2K. The team was over 100, I believe. Yeah, and then we left. But yeah, guys, other than that, I think I'm done for tonight. You don't like high top ones? Yeah, I do, bro. I actually have a pair. What happened to my leg? I tore my meniscus again. But yeah, other than that, meniscus. Yeah, bro, look it up. It's like the cushion in between both your bones and your knee. But yeah, other than that, I'm done for today. New York is the best time to trade. I mean, read my trading plan, bro. Read my trading plan. Like, you guys, I don't like giving you guys literally like, exactly the exact answers. I'd rather have you guys figure it out. But yeah, look at my trading plan. It's in the drive. But yeah, other than that, guys,
and
I'll catch y'all later.
To add to that a little bit, for everybody on the call, like the way that like what Fredo just said, right? He wants y'all to like look for it. Like the reason he does that is because he like it may seem like a little. It's not rude, but it's just again he wants y'all to like actually want it, right? It's different when someone literally gives you everything, like hands it to you, and like it's there, rather than like he actually wants you to like look for it and like find it and learn it, right? It's just
the only way you're gonna learn it. That's the only way you're gonna learn it, is if you figure it out.
That's why the way he teaches is more of like like an actual coach, like an athlete, and that's why he has that vibe. And some of you may be that like maybe the new people may be intimidated. I mean, don't feel like that if you do feel like that. But yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah, connect the dots. Yeah, it's the best way to put it. Yeah, it's literally the best way to put it. Connect the dots. Yeah, losses are definitely the best teachers. Tough love, exactly. There you go. Tough love. Yeah, so yeah, but other than that, guys, I'm done for tonight. Let's see how charts are tomorrow morning. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see y'all.